Okay, awesome. Thank you, Spacey, for ceasing. Okay, I have Kanga's results back, and I think it's fairly good news. The biopsy is negative for cancer. Yay. Negative for any kind of fungal infection. Negative for an autoimmune disorder. So all of those sort of more serious things she's negative for. Now what she's positive for, this is a, Spacey has the spelling of this. I'm going to try to pronounce this. It's called eosinophilic granulomatose disease complex. Commonly shortened to EGDC. So that's what we're going to call it. EGDC. And I'll talk about what that is in a minute. Let me just get... Let Spacey get caught up here. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Come over here. Okay, there's the spelling. Now you see why I could not pronounce that. Yeah. So EGDC is more like, it's basically saying that's what those lesions on her cheeks are. That's just what they're called. But there are, it's basically a symptom of something. And it can be caused by any number of things. Very commonly fleas. It can be caused by an allergy, whether that's food or environmental. And it can less commonly be caused by genetics. It also can be caused just by stress. So we don't know what has caused this in Kanga, because it can be any number of things. I think we can rule out fleas because well, I shouldn't say that. They were treated for fleas when she first arrived, but she didn't have the lesions when she first arrived, and she had fleas living when she was living outside on the streets, and she didn't have these lesions. So my guess is it's not fleas. I think most likely it's an allergy or stress. So what do we do about it? So when she has active lesions, we treat with steroids. So she'll be on steroids for, a couple weeks until those lesions heal. And then she'll wean off of the steroids. So she doesn't stay on steroids for life. She only stays on the steroids while she has active lesions. If she does start scratching her cheeks again, we'll have to put the cone back on. But hopefully the steroids will help to clear up the lesions and we can stop the meds, we can take off the cone. This is something that's lifelong, so reoccurrence is pretty high, especially, you know, if it's stress related or, you know, something where she is being exposed to it regularly. It definitely can reoccur. So, so it's basically just something to keep an eye on, you know, once this heals, just to kind of know that if it pops up again, we know that we can easily just treat this with some medication. I think stress is a high possibility. The lesions popped up when she first was rescued from the streets and was brought to KKP. Even though you might not feel like this is a stressful environment, it's a change. And so that can cause, you know, any sort of change can cause some stress. So that's a possibility. We did notice that her lesions were healing when I changed the food bowls to glass. So it is a possibility that it's an allergy to either ceramic or stainless steel bowls. That's a possibility. And it can also be a food allergy, which I haven't been able to experiment much with food because she, you know, the kittens were in the room and we needed to keep them on a kitten diet. So, you know, now that she's in foster care, especially if Hector is adopted and she's on her own, we might be able to do some food experiments. But I don't know that we're going to be able to figure out what the cause of this is before she's adopted. I think, you know, as long as we can get to the point where the lesions are healing, it's just something that her adopters kind of be, you know, need to be aware of. But, you know, we don't want to, you know, keep her here for a year as we experiment with things. So, you know, overall, that's why I said I think this is pretty good news. It's nothing serious. It's something that's actually relatively common in cats. You know, you don't need to, she doesn't need a specialist. You know, if this pops up in the future, any primary vet is able to treat this. You know, now that she's had the biopsy, we know what it is definitively. So, you know, overall, I think it's pretty good news. So plan moving forward is we're going to start her on that steroid. We're going to take some pictures as we go along. So we'll, you know, take a picture today, and then in a week from now, we'll take some more pictures and we can compare them to make sure that she's healing. And I think as long as we see progress in a week, then I'll post her for adoption. So I think it's relatively soon that we can make her available for adoption, which is awesome because she's an awesome cat who deserves her home. She went to Sierra's today to foster care with Hector, and Sierra said that she actually started scratching when she first got there. She was concerned that she was scratching a lot, but now she's laying down, she seems calm and she stops scratching. So the stress possibility kind of, you know, seems pretty high, that might be what's causing the irritation and the itchiness. That could definitely be. So right now she's calm, so she hasn't had to put the cone back on. You know, she has the cone with her in case she needs to put it back on, but she's just observing her for now. I haven't seen any questions yet. Does anybody have any questions? You're welcome, Marsha. This was a new one for me. When I had originally posted the photo of Kanga on social media and shared that we were having the biopsy done, a lot of people use this term, however it's pronounced, EGDC. A lot of people were saying my cat has this, and they used that term. So, you know, it sort of checks that this is pretty common in cats. A lot of people have had to deal with it. So, you know, I'll be posting on social media with the update, and I have a feeling I'm going to get a lot of responses from people that say, my cat has that too. So I'm going to be interested in reading their responses to see maybe how some people have managed it, you know, on a long-term basis. I think there might be people who have some helpful information. So I'm looking forward to reading some of those responses. Yeah, this condition also occurs in humans. It's not just cats. So if you Google it, make sure that you add, you know, in cats at the end so that you get the information that's specific to felines, because if you just put the term in, you're going to get information about the human condition. No, she won't be on any allergy med. We don't even know if it's an allergy, but in cats, it's not like a human, you know, where we take Allegra or something like that. In cats, if they're having an allergic reaction, they typically get prednisone, the steroid, and you try to figure out what the allergy is to and avoid that. So if it's a food allergy, you know, you figure out what type of food they're allergic to and change their diet. If it's an environmental allergy, you know, you change their environment. So that's sort of how you manage allergies in cats. There's some medications that are like an anti-itch kind of medication that are made for longer term, but that's more where they have like skin itchiness, like cats that have like where they like chew off all their fur on their leg. Yeah, like dry skin, like something that's like always there. You know, with Kanga's condition, it happens in bursts. So she'll have an outbreak, and that's when it'll get itchy, and that's when we would treat it. But in between those outbreaks, you know, she doesn't need to be on any medication. She's not, you know, she wouldn't have lesions during that time. She wouldn't feel itchy during that time. Like, she's just in a hibernation. So we wouldn't want to medicate her, you know, for like these long periods of time where she doesn't have any symptoms. If you guys are familiar with herpes virus, I think of it like that, where most cats, when they have herpes virus, they're asymptomatic, right? They don't have any symptoms. You don't even know that they have anything, but if they move to a new place and there's a new baby, you know, some stress comes into their life, that's when they get a flare up from herpes virus, right? Like, that's when they start, you know, getting the watery eyes or sneezing, and that's when you would treat it. But, you know, you can go years without having a herpes flare up, right? You're a carrier, you still are always going to test positive. There's no cure for it, but, you know, you can go years without any symptoms from it and no flare-ups. So that's very similar to what Kanga has, where, you know, she might go years without any flare-up, and then something changes in her environment, or, you know, whatever it is that's causing it, and then she might have another flare-up. So yeah, when the doctor was explaining it, you know, my thought was, this sounds very similar to how herpes virus works. I've let all the Kanga's babies adopters, I've let them know what she was diagnosed with, just because it's a possibility that it's genetic, even though it's not likely, but it's still a possibility. So I've let them know what it is. You know, if any of them ever develop lesions, they won't need to go through this whole process with a biopsy and things like that. They would be able to tell their vet right away, you know, this is what their mom had. So so they're all aware as well. Hopefully it's not genetic. Yeah, I don't know enough about human conditions like lupus and fibromyalgia. I just don't know enough about them to be able to say whether it's similar or not, but I'm sure others in chat know more about those things than I do. Thanks, Grievous. I just think it makes it easier. Like, why would, you know, they don't, if something like this happened with one of the kittens in the future, you know, they don't need to go through all the mystery of it like we went with Kanga. Yeah. That's unnecessary. Yeah, I'm very grateful, Loomis, that it's nothing serious. Yeah. Well, you need nail trim. You need a nail trim. All right, so I am going to clip this because it is a lot of information, and it's not all going to make it to a PSA. So if anyone wants to watch back and missed it, I'll save this to the channel. We had a lot of things saved to the channel today. If you are curious, you know, this is new to me too, so I spent some time reading about it. There does seem to be quite a lot of information online about this condition, so so I do recommend further reading if you're interested. Yes, Louise, not cancer. That is, of course, a huge relief. All right, babies. And I moved the camera back, so hopefully the snugglers sit over here so you guys can see the snugglers now. And you can also see the food bowls. So we're getting to the point where these kittens might start becoming interested in food. We'll also have to get a little potty in here for you guys, because you're going to be getting to independent pottying soon. So we'll start to look out for them sampling any food. They've been sampling the water, so they're already checking that out. Star pupils. All right. Oops. All right. Thanks again, Spacey, for the CC.